What's up, guys? This is Jesse here at Jeweler's Advantage, and in today's video we are going to talk about two things. We are going to talk about the shifting consumer preference from natural diamonds to lab diamonds, especially when it comes to engagement rings, and we're also going to talk about the MGTOW movement, the manosphere, red pill space, what have you, and that movement and community's effect on marriage and how these two things will connect. So let's start with the diamonds. We've all heard that a diamond is forever. This was De Beers' campaign that basically established the rules for the jewelry industry for several decades, a good 80 years, but that's now coming to a close. The world is changing because there is a new, better, faster, cheaper product in lab diamonds, arguably, where people can get something that looks exactly like the genuine article. It will still look like a great ring, but it'll even be a bigger stone for social media. Let's remember that one for later. So because of the ability to manufacture beautiful gemstones that can be used to replace the flagship product of the jewelry industry, there is a business dynamic unfolding called Jevons paradox, where a product that becomes cheaper and more efficient to produce will only mean that there's going to be more adoption of that product, which is exactly what we see with lab diamonds coming in and replacing the natural diamonds in the jewelry market. So what does this really mean? What is the impact here as a product? And then we'll get into the marriage stuff. The impact here is that women can have a big, beautiful gemstone on their ring finger for social media. That's very important because that changes the dynamic socially of how this product was enjoyed by women in the past. Before social media, women would have been meeting in person to be social, and they would have been showing off the ring to their friends, and these friends would have been like, wow, it's so big, what a rock, wow, amazing. And that would have been the big exciting part for the woman that just got proposed to when it comes to going and showing her friends the evidence that she's getting married. So with the advent of social media and the adoption of e-commerce jewelry, this has really changed, because now the big moment where you're going to show that off is going to be on Instagram. It's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on whatever social media platform that woman that got proposed to is most active on and is most likely to be social on. That is where that's happening. So think about how different that is socially. And if we have a product that looks exactly like the old version of the product, but you get to have a bigger one and it's cheaper, then it's no surprise that people have started to gravitate more towards the lab-grown diamond engagement ring when it comes to product market fit. When it comes to the desire in the market and a business's ability to meet that desire with a product that's competitive, that is why lab diamond engagement rings are taking off. Because of social media and because of the value of the product shifting from a commodity value with natural diamonds, and the whole argument, the logical underpinning of this being some type of financial investment, now that is being replaced by this social dynamic, this mirage of having ascended up a social hierarchy as evidenced by that big stone in that beautiful picture on social media. So that is why the product is shifting. But there's also something that is making this social dynamic more valuable in its own right. And that would be the decline of marriage as an institution in the Western world. This is a big deal. So when people talk about the manosphere or the red pill space or the MGTOW movement, which is men going their own way, we have to actually take a step back and look at why this might be happening from a logical perspective, rather than demonizing the movement as a whole just because there's certain talking points that make us all uncomfortable. So let's think about what this is really all about. If we think about what the MGTOW movement is, men going their own way, all that means is that men are deciding not to get married. They're deciding that they're no longer buying into the previous social contract of white picket fence and a dog. I'm going to pay 35 years on a mortgage of a house and work this job and raise my family and have a nice middle-class life. That's gone away because of the economic factors that have eroded the middle class in the Western world. So that's just one thing going on. Then there's dating apps. Think how hard it is for somebody to be competitive if they're just a regular guy when they're competing with professional athletes and movie stars and social influencers and guys that are just better looking or over 6 feet or have maxed out the 3 6s or whatever that one is, or whatever these very, very high criteria are that modern women seem to have of men that they are going to engage in a long-term relationship with. It is what it is. I'm not here to unpack the whole thing. I'm just saying that the result of the modern world has made it really, really hard for men to compete in dating, and a good amount of them are opting out altogether because they don't see it as worth it. They also see the family court system as highly predatory, and they don't want to participate in that. And who could blame them for not wanting to risk their entire net worth and their productivity for decades on a relationship with somebody that they might not really know well enough to risk it all on? So I don't know the answer to that one, but I can say what the effect of this is on the dating market and on the engagement ring market in relation to marriage. And that is going to be that because there are less weddings and because there are less proposals, that means there are going to be less engagement rings being sold overall. So if we think of this using luxury industry marketing and sales terminology, this is creating scarcity for that social event of being able to post a picture of a ring at all. The reason this is happening is because on a core fundamental level, the vast majority of heterosexual couples are going to understand intuitively that there are certain gatekeeping aspects to a relationship that's romantic between a man and a woman. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gatekeepers of relationships. So if the men aren't even getting the chance to engage in the fun part at the beginning, then of course there's not going to be a cause and effect relationship that leads to that proposal. And thus there's going to be less engagement rings sold. And because there's less of something sold, there's something that becomes more precious. In this case, it's not the scarcity of the natural diamond, it's the scarcity of that social event of a proposal at all. Because now it's going to be a social flex on social media for any girl that's gotten engaged, because she's going to be demonstrating, hey, I made it to that point where the guy committed. I don't make the rules, guys. I'm sure that it's going to be a war zone in the comments. I'm just saying what I have observed, and I'm making this a business discussion on a particular product that has a lot to do with weddings. Now, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, so let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're getting value out of this, please like, comment, and subscribe to Jeweler's Advantage. My name is Jesse Corby here at Jeweler's Advantage, and we will see you in the next one.